Harry Lewis, 54, stood in his cluttered Detroit garage, the air thick with the scent of motor oil and rust. His eyes fixed on the battered Fender Stratocaster guitar mounted on the wall like a forgotten trophy from a bygone era. In the 1980s, he'd been the rhythm guitarist for Steel Thunder, a hard rock band that lit up arenas from Chicago to LA. Stadiums thundered with their gritty riffs, fans screaming lyrics to anthems of rebellion and lost love. Harry co-wrote hits like Highway Heart, a track about chasing dreams down endless blacktop roads, which sold over 200,000 copies and earned them a spot on MTV's rotation. Back then, life was electric. Sold-out shows, backstage parties with whiskey flowing, and the thrill of a crowd chanting your name. But glory is fleeting. Internal band brawls over royalties, Harry's spiraling alcohol use, and the grind of touring tore them apart. By '92, Steel Thunder disbanded amid scandals, leaving Harry broke and hollow. 7 years ago, his marriage to Emma crumbled under the weight of it all. She packed up, citing his endless chase for the next high over family stability. Now, he was just a mechanic in a dingy auto shop on the city's frayed edges, coaxing life back into weary Chevys and Fords, his calloused hands a map of grease and regret. The daily grind wore him down. Early mornings wrestling with seized bolts, afternoons haggling over parts prices with suppliers, evenings scrubbing grime from under his nails while the house echoed empty. He'd glance at the guitar sometimes, fingers twitching with old habits, but push the urge away, muttering to himself, "That's a young man's game." The neighborhood, once buzzing with factory shifts, now slumbered in economic twilight. Boarded stores, overgrown lots, the occasional siren wailing like a bad feedback loop. Harry's routine was his armor. Coffee black and hot, radio tuned to classic rock low enough not to stir memories too loud. Yet in quiet lulls between jobs, the what-ifs crept in. What if he'd hung up the axe after the second album, stayed for Trevor's first steps? Regret was the real rust, corroding from within. The house, a sturdy two-story brick in a blue-collar neighborhood scarred by economic decline, had become a shrine to what was. Faded concert posters from '85 tours peeled at the edges in the living room, yellowed ticket stubs tucked in drawers like hidden love letters. Vinyl records stacked in a dusty cabinet held ghosts of Springsteen and Zeppelin, but the turntable gathered dust beside a stack of unpaid bills. The guitar, once an extension of his soul, hung silent, strings slack like unplayed promises, its neck warped slightly from years in humid Michigan summers. His children, now adults navigating their own storms, had scattered far. Son Trevor, 26, thrived as a software engineer in Chicago's bustling tech scene, married to a sharp-witted accountant named Lisa, with a rambunctious 2-year-old boy, little Max, who FaceTimed Harry with toothless grins and demands for Grandpa songs. Trevor inherited his dad's mechanical mind, but channeled it into code, rarely sharing the pressures of deadlines and startup pitches over their brief calls, always cutting short with, "Gotta run to a meeting, Dad." Daughter Kate, 23, chased journalism dreams in New York's competitive grind, interning at a local paper while crashing on friends' couches between freelance gigs. She called with updates on her latest exposé on urban decay, her voice bright but edged with exhaustion from all-nighters and rejection emails. Sunday calls were ritual, Harry asking about grandkid antics or Kate's bylines, but the conversations skimmed surfaces, like skimming stones across a pond that never rippled deep. His tales of carburetor woes or a stubborn transmission felt trivial against their vibrant worlds of algorithms and headlines. The divorce with Emma lingered like a bad chord. She'd taken the savings, the better car, half the equity house, and left him with a bitter aftertaste of music always came first. Harry didn't contest it. Deep down, he knew the truth. She'd begged him to quit touring for family nights, soccer games, holidays. Instead, he'd chased one more gig, one more roar from the crowd, leaving her to handle midnight fevers and school plays alone. Now the silence echoed louder than any amp, the empty chair at dinner a constant reminder of choices that couldn't be restrung. Mornings unfolded in quiet predictability, a metronome to his muted days. At 6 a.m. sharp, Harry brewed black coffee in a chipped ceramic mug. Strong, no sugar, the way Emma used to tease him for being all grit, no sweet, her laugh a melody he still hummed in dreams. He'd sip it on the back stoop, watching the sun rise over sagging chain-link fences and potholed streets, the distant hum of I-75 a reminder of roads not taken, trucks rumbling like the bass lines he once laid down. Then, tool check, arranging wrenches by size on the pegboard, their cold steel familiar as old friends. Testing the hydraulic jack's lift with a hydraulic whine that drowned thought. Firing up the welding torch with a satisfying hiss, blue flame dancing like stage pyrotechnics in miniature. The shop, Lewis Auto Repair, was a no-frills operation in a converted warehouse. Bay doors rattling in wind gusts, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like persistent feedback, concrete floor stained with decades of leaks. Customers were mostly locals, grizzled vets with 70s muscle cars, their V8s growling stories of Vietnam roads. Single moms with minivans on their last legs, dashboards cracked from endless school runs. Retirees coaxing decades-old sedans through Michigan winters, heaters wheezing like asthmatic roadies. Harry was their guy, methodical, no nonsense, diagnosing rattles with a stethoscope-like ear pressed to engines, his intuition sharper than any OBD scanner. "Harry, you're a wizard with these beasts," an old-timer would grunt, slapping down cash for a timing belt swap or radiator flush, the transaction sealed with a nod and, "See you next oil change." But the praise rang hollow. It paid the mortgage and stocked the fridge with Bud Light six-packs and frozen pizzas from the corner Kroger, but offered no encore, no crowd roar to chase the blues away. Evenings blurred into solitude. Cracking a beer in front of the TV, flipping between Lions games, cheering half-heartedly as they fumbled another drive, or reruns of Miami Vice, the synth waves evoking tour bus nights in Florida. Some nights he'd cue up Steel Thunder on the old stereo, volume low to avoid waking ghosts of arguments with Emma, fingers tapping phantom strings on his knee to the downbeat of Highway Heart. The itch was there, a muscle memory from arena spotlights, sweat-slick stages, the vibration of 10,000 voices. But he'd snuff it out with another sip, the bottle's cool glass a poor substitute for the fretboard's warmth. "What's the point?" he'd mutter to the empty room, shadows lengthening like unanswered choruses. Stage lights don't shine on has-beens. Yet, in quiet moments between channels, he'd strum air guitar, humming the melody under his breath, the notes a bittersweet lifeline to youth's reckless fire, wondering if rust could ever truly be polished away. One drizzly October afternoon, as gray skies wept over the Motor City's faded glory, abandoned factories looming like silent amps, streetlights flickering early against the gloom, a sputtering 1972 Volkswagen Beetle rolled into the bay, exhaust coughing like a smoker's hack, tires hydroplaning on oil-slicked concrete. The car was a time capsule, sunflower yellow paint chipped to rust in floral patterns, chrome bumpers dulled by road salt, but with a quirky soul that screamed 70s road trip, flower-powered decals peeling on the dash. Outstepped June Rivers, 49, shaking rain from her short, fiery red hair cropped in a pixie cut that framed her sharp features and freckled cheeks, a remnant of Nashville summers. She wore a vintage leather jacket studded with enamel pins from defunct bands, Ramones' Eagle, Clash's Skull, and faded Levi's tucked into scuffed Martins that echoed on the floor. Her eyes, a piercing hazel flecked with gold, scanned the garage with producer's savvy, landing on Harry wiping grease from his forearms with a rag, his flannel shirt sleeves rolled to elbows revealing faded tattoos of anchors and notes. "Hey there," she called, voice carrying a Nashville twang softened by years on the road, warm as bourbon on rocks. "I'm June. Broke down en route to a gig scout. This bug's got heart, but she's throwing a fit. Carburetor? Alternator? You're the doc, right?" Harry grunted a hello, already under the hood, flashlight beam cutting through steam rising from the manifold, his hands moving with practiced grace, disconnecting hoses, probing wires. As tools clinked, ratchet clicking, screwdriver tapping, conversation flowed unforced, like a loose jam session. June leaned on a workbench, cluttered with spark plugs and fan belts, explaining her gig, scouting talent for Retro Thunder, an 80s rock revival festival in Detroit's revitalized Fox Theater, velvet seats and marquee lights calling back the Hairspray era. Bringing back the hair metal heroes, the blues rock survivors, 50-plus crowd reliving glory days, sold-out tickets already, folks in acid-wash jeans and mullets. Harry's wrench paused mid-turn, oil dripping like black tears. Sounds like a nostalgia trap. Most of us old dogs can't bark anymore. Knees creak louder than amps. June laughed, a rich, throaty sound that cut the garage's stale air like a lead brake. Nonsense. Saw your steel thunder clips on YouTube last night. Highway Heart still gives chills. That riff? Iconic. Raw as Detroit steel. You in for a set? He straightened, wiping sweat from brow with sleeve, skepticism masking a flicker of fire in his chest, the same spark from first gigs in smoky basements. That was another life. Now it's oil changes and alignments, not encores. But her energy lingered, a spark in the fluorescent hum, as he reconnected the battery, engine coughing to life with a throaty rumble. The fix took under an hour. A clogged fuel line from bad gas, nothing a flush and fresh filter couldn't cure, the Beetle purring smooth as a well-tuned Strat. Harry tested the revs, satisfied with the idle's steady thrum, and slammed the hood with a metallic clang. She's good to go. $100, cash or card. June waved it off with a grin, pulling a crumpled 20 from her jacket pocket. On the house if you play one chord for me. Deal? Come on, indulge a fan. He chuckled, the first real laugh in weeks rumbling from his chest like a bass drop, and fetched the fender from its dusty perch, blowing off a layer of grime that danced in the light like stage fog. Dust motes swirled as he plugged into a long-dormant amp, the cord crackling with static before humming to life, thumbing a G chord, the opening to Highway Heart, the note hanging raw and resonant, garage walls vibrating like a mini arena under spotlights. June's eyes lit up, hazel sparkling. Damn, Harry. That's gold, pure vein. Rhythm like yours doesn't fade. It ferments, gets richer. They talked till closing time, shop lights buzzing farewell. Her Nashville roots in a family of pickers, producing indie acts before diving into retro revivals that packed house with silver-haired headbangers. His band's meteoric rise from dive bars reeking of spilled beer to arena openers for Bon Jovi, the rush of 20,000 lighters waving like a sea of stars. She confessed her divorce over cold fries from the dash. Husband, a sleazy manager with a silver tongue, drained their savings on bad horse bets and Vegas flings, leaving her to rebuild from a one-room apartment with a laptop and demo reels. Music's my therapy, Harry. Keeps the rust off the soul. Polishes the edges. He nodded, sharing Emma's final pleas to quit the road for family nights under one roof, the bottle that numbed tour bus loneliness and post-show crashes, how AA meetings in church basements felt like defeat until he stuck it out sober. As rain pattered the tin roof in a steady backbeat, June scribbled her number on a shop napkin stained with transmission fluid. Think about the festival. Detroit needs its thunder back. You could be the strike. She drove off, Beetle humming smoother than before, taillights fading into the downpour, leaving Harry with a ghost of adrenaline buzzing in his veins and a napkin burning in his pocket like a backstage pass. That night, alone with a single beer rationed to half, he restrung the guitar, calluses protesting the pull of fresh strings, but fingers remembering the frets like old lovers' curves, plucking tentative notes into the dark. June became a fixture, her Beatles' distinctive rattle announcing arrivals like a drum roll. 2 days later, she rolled up with takeout BBQ from a soul food joint on Woodward, ribs sticky with tangy sauce that clung to fingers, coleslaw crisp with vinegar bite, cornbread golden and steaming, and that steel thunder vinyl tucked under her arm like a secret weapon. Rehearsal time, maestro. No excuses. Let's see if that riff holds up in daylight. The garage transformed under her command, amp humming to life with a low growl, her perched on a stool scavenged from the house, legs swinging like a kid at a soda fountain, him seated on an overturned milk crate that creaked under his weight. He ran through Highway Heart, voice gravelly from disuse but laced with the authentic husk of lived miles, the groove locking in like muscle memory from countless sound checks. June harmonized on the chorus, her alto weaving seamlessly through his baritone, turning the space into a makeshift studio where concrete floors bounced echoes like reverb plates. "See? Magic in the mundane," she beamed post-song, wiping sauce from her chin with a napkin. They unpacked ribs over paper plates balanced on toolboxes, trading stories in the fluorescent glow. Her wild 90s tour managing a country outfit through Tornado Alley in Oklahoma, dodging hailstones the size of golf balls while the bus hydroplaned on flooded interstates. His 87 European leg, where a Munich riot after a headliner no-show nearly ended in arrests, fans hurling bottles like confetti gone wrong. Vulnerability crept in like a slow blues intro. June admitting the divorce hollowed her out, fearing she'd lost her ear for raw talent amid polished demos. Harry confessing the bottle's grip post-breakup, how AA meetings and smoke-free church basements felt like defeat until he stuck with the 12 steps, one day at a time. "Music pulled me back from the edge," she said, tapping the vinyl sleeve with a sauce-smeared finger. "What's your anchor these days, Harry? The wrench or something deeper?" He strummed idly, a minor chord hanging melancholic. Used to be the stage, the roar. Now? Hell if I know. Maybe just not falling apart. Their bond deepened organically, like a riff building layers. Shared cynicism for industry hacks peddling auto-tuned garbage. Passion for analog sound's warmth over digital sterility. Late-night drives in her Beetle with windows down, blasting cassettes of Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever as city lights blurred past. June demoed an app for chord progressions on her phone, fingers flying. Harry tuned her neglected acoustic with a pitch pipe, his touch deft despite years of wrenchins over picks. Evenings stretched lazy, debating Dylan versus Petty over cold pizza remnants, her head on his shoulder during a bootleg Stones live from '72, whispers of what-if scenarios for the festival setlist. For the first time since Emma's slam of the screen door, Harry felt seen, not as a washed-up rocker peddling nostalgia, but a man with stories worth hearing, scars worth tracing. Weeks blurred into a rhythm all their own, the garage evolving from oil-stained sanctuary to creative haven, bay doors propped open to let in autumn breeze carrying leaf scent and distant leaf-blower whines. June's visits synced with shop lulls, her Beatles horn tooting a jaunty hello. She'd arrive with sheet music scavenged from estate sales and Hamtramck, yellowed pages smelling of attics and forgotten amps, or lyrics scribbled on napkins from diner stops, half-formed verses about roads less rusted. Rehearsals gained polish, Harry layering solos over her vocal runs, the Fender's hum mingling with her acoustic's twang, the space echoing with half-formed jams that hinted at full songs. One session birthed a riff twist on Highway Heart, June dubbing it Heart Restart, with a producer's ear, recording rough takes on her phone's voice memo, the waveform spiking like a heartbeat monitor. This could be your comeback single, Harry. Raw, real, for the Spotify dad rock cues, she urged, eyes alight with that Nashville hustle. Harry balked, setting the guitar down on a creeper cart. Comeback? I'm 54, not 24. Who's listening to relics when kids stream trap beats and AI pop? But her belief chipped his doubt, like sandblasting rust from a chassis, revealing shine beneath. Offstage, their worlds intertwined like harmony lines, joint runs to vinyl shops in Ferndale, where dusty bins and cramped stores yielded gems like a mint-condition Exile on Main Street, unearthed from a collector's hoard, sleeves crackling with static joy on the drive home. Walks along the Detroit River at dusk became ritual, skylines twinkling spires reflecting in choppy waters, sharing divorce war stories under sodium lamps, her ex's gambling debts at Belmont mirroring his band's excess in '89 when a bad investment in merch left them couch surfing between gigs. June's quirks charmed like offbeat chords, her habit of air drumming to radio hits during red lights, collecting band patches like badges of honor sewn on her jacket's sleeve. Harry steadied her chaos, teaching oil changes on the Beetle in the driveway, his patience a balm for her road-weary nerves, grease smudges on her cheeks earning laughs. Kids noticed the shift. Trevor teased during calls from his high-rise. "Dad, you sound lighter, like you got a new tune. Who's the mystery woman making you hum?" Kate gushed over June's festival pitch during a late-night text. "Dad, 80s revival? Sign me up, I'll cover it for my blog." Emma even texted neutrally after a mutual friend mention. "Heard you're playing again. Good for you. Kids deserve a dad who's all in." The spark ignited fully one crisp fall night, post-rehearsal, rain slicking streets into mirror shine. June leaned in during a slow blues cover of Stormy Monday, lips meeting his in a tentative brush that deepened fervent, her hands tangling in his shirt collar, his on her waist pulling close. Harry's heart raced like a V8 at Redline, fear of repeat mistakes mingling with fire long banked, the kiss tasting of rib sauce and possibility. A month in, with rehearsals humming like a well-oiled engine, June pitched the trial gig, Rusty Nail, a dive bar staple for blue-collar crowds in Corktown, hosting open mics Tuesdays under neon signs buzzing live music nightly. The place was legend. Sticky floors from spilled drafts, walls scarred with Sharpie set lists, air thick with fry grease and cigarette ghosts since the ban. "Low stakes, high vibe, perfect warm-up for the festival," June said, mapping it on her phone over garage coffee. Harry paced the concrete, amp feedback whining like nerves. What if I freeze mid-solo? Voice cracks like bad cables, fingers slip on frets slick with sweat. June cupped his face in cool hands, hazel eyes steady. "Then we laugh it off and try again. You're not performing for critics in suits, you're sharing soul with folks who get it, the ones who rocked to your records in basements." Nerves jangled like loose wires in a dash, but he nodded. The date circled in red on his shop calendar amid oil invoices. Gig night arrived with autumn chill seeping through cracks. The bar pulsed with locals. Welders nursing amber drafts at scarred oak counters, retirees swapping Korean War tales over peanuts, a smattering of hipsters in ironic tees slinging craft IPAs. Harry tuned on stage under a single spotlight, harsh on his sweat-beaded brow, the fender slung low like an old comrade, June in the front row, thumbs up and grin wide as the stage. First chord trembled in the humid air, but Highway Heart unfolded raw, voice rasping authentic, not polished studio sheen, riffs cutting clean through the murmur, building to a wall of sound that hushed chatter. Crowd leaned in, old heads nodding recognition to the hook, a burly trucker in flannel belting chorus off-key but fervent, young bartender banging a shaker in time. By fade-out, cheers erupted like thunderclap, encores demanded with stomps on creaky boards. Backstage, really the alley reeking of dumpster and rain, June pulled him into shadows behind the beer cooler, kiss tasting of adrenaline and relief, her leather jacket cool against his damp shirt, hands framing his face. "Told you, thunder's in your blood." That raw high lingered through the drive home, windows fogged, radio low on Petty's Learning to Fly, but so did shadows creeping at edges. Social media buzzed overnight. Shaky clips from a patron's phone went viral in niche rock forums. Ex-Steel Thunder Axe shreds dive bar. Who's this guy? Likes ticking up from graying fans in Ohio basements. Then Danny, ex-frontman, voice like gravel gargled with Jack Daniels, rang at dawn. "Saw the vid, Lou. Killer stuff. Vegas promoter sniffing. Wants Steel Thunder full reunion for a casino blowout. Big payday. Ocean View Suites, the works. Like 87 European run, but better. No borders, just bucks. Pack your bags, brother." Harry's pulse quickened. Visions of spotlights blinding, roaring fills from 5,000 seats. Validation after years rusting in obscurity. But Danny's laugh slurred into static. "And hey, post-show parties on me. Jack, lines, whatever keeps the edge sharp." The hook sank deep, temptation coiling like smoke from a just-lit joint, pulling him toward the abyss he'd clawed from. The pull warred within like a dissonant chord, temptation's treble clashing resolve's bass. Rehearsals with Danny and the Remnants, bassist Mick with his perpetual 5 o'clock shadow and drum scars on knuckles, drummer Ray whose kit bore cigarette burns, rekindled fire in a rented studio off 8 Mile, amps cranked to 11, Highway Heart thundering anew through foam walls that muffled the road's roar. Laughter flowed over warm beers from a mini-fridge, tales of '89 excesses spilling like overfilled ashtrays, trashed hotel rooms in Cleveland after a hailstorm gig, groupie escapades in LA motels with heart-shaped tubs, the time Danny mooned a cop from the tour bus in Nashville fog. "This is us, man. Kings of the comeback trail." Danny slapped his back with a meaty palm, breath whiskey sweet even at noon. Harry thrived on the energy at first, riffs sharpening like honed blades, voice steadier in the familiar growl, the studio's isolation booth a confessional for old sins. But cracks spiderwebbed quick, Danny's flask hidden in gig bag, glugged between takes, mix slurred cues mid-bridge, eyes glassy, Ray's pill popping between fills, orange bottle rattling like maracas. Hangovers crept back, Harry waking with cotton mouth after one-for-the-road shots, regrets piling like unpaid tabs. June watched warily during a drop-in, her producer's ear catching the off-beats. "It's electric, all right, but is it you now, or the ghost you buried?" Her words stung like feedback squeal, but Vegas loomed seductive. 50K split 4 ways, prime slots opening for Def Leppard tribute acts, chance to prove he wasn't done, that the rust was just patina on gold. Home life frayed at seams, Trevor visited unannounced, toddler Max toddling amid scattered pics and cables, but Harry snapped at spilled coffee on a lyric sheet, mind miles away on set lists and stage plots. Kate called excited from a Brooklyn cafe. "Dad, full reunion? Epic! I'll fly in. Cover it for my zine." Yet Emma's text pierced like a power cord drop. "Heard about Vegas. Remember why I left. The bottle, the fights, the kids waiting alone. Don't drag them through another crash landing." Guilt twisted gut deep. He'd missed Trevor's Little League finals for a European tour in pouring Berlin rain, Kate's prom for a locked-in studio session chasing perfection till dawn. The bottle called too, seductive whisper during late drives, post-rehearsal shots at a dive to loosen up, waking with head pounding like overdriven distortion. June confronted gently over diner pie at a 24-hour spot, fluorescent lights harsh on pie crust flakes. "Music's your heart, Harry, but don't let it break it again. The festival's real, fans who know you now, scars and all, not the myth from posters." Her hazel eyes held no judgment, just quiet plea wrapped in that twangy warmth. Harry paced rain-slick streets that night, after guitar case heavy as anchor over shoulder, choices crashing like cymbals in a finale, Vegas lights or garage glow. Afterglow carried them like a fade-out to a lakeside cottage in northern Michigan. June's serendipitous find, a weathered A-frame with creaky porch swing overlooking choppy waters of Lake Huron, pines whispering in wind like soft percussion. She set up a home production rig in the sunroom, laptop humming with Pro Tools, scouting tracks via email while waves lapped foundation. Harry claimed the scarred oak desk in the loft, penning lyrics by lantern light, blending 80s grit with midlife wisdom. Verses of detours, do-overs, the beauty in minor keys. Rusty Road became their first collab, a mid-tempo ballad of bent axles and bent hearts, her vocals layered soulful over his acoustic strum, streaming on Spotify's dad rock revival playlists and garnering plays from Pennsylvania garages to Texas barbecues. Income trickled steady, modest royalties from reissues, garage gigs for weddings, festival residuals padding the account, but enough for stability. No excess to tempt old vices, just upgrades like a new compressor for the Beetle, and solar panels glinting on the roof. Life settled into groove deeper than any set. Mornings with strong coffee brewed on a percolator, black for him, splash of cream for her, shared on the swing as mist rose off the lake. Afternoons writing, his fingers dancing strings while she hummed melodies from the kitchen, testing harmonies over simmering chili. Evenings unwound lazy, vinyl spins on a restored Technics turntable, her head on his chest during Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, whispers of dreams, touring small venues in the Midwest, no arenas or private jets, just intimate crowds in VFW halls where stories swapped like set lists. Conflicts arose like bridge changes. her touring itch for a California showcase clashing his homebody pull toward quiet winters chopping wood, resolved over bonfires crackling with Lakeview stars, honest riffs airing grievances till harmony restored. Kids wove in closer, threads strengthening the weave. Trevor and Lisa summered there annually, Max learning basic chords on a kid-sized three-quarter guitar Harry built from scrap, the boy's tiny fingers plucking Twinkle Twinkle to giggles. Kate profiled them for a Comeback at 50 feature in Rolling Stone's regional edition, the piece viral in niche circles with quotes like, "Rust is just the badge of roads traveled." Emma thawed over time, awkward coffee meetups in neutral territory, shared laughs over Max's first concert of banging pots, their co-parenting evolving to a quiet victory of civility. Harry's epiphany crystallized one starlit night on the dock, feet dangling in cool water, June's hand in his. Rust isn't ruin, it's patina, the verdigris proof of miles logged, battles weathered, tunes endured. With June, love hummed low and true, not fireworks exploding in Vegas skies, but steady bassline anchoring the wildest solo, grounding the highs without muting the fire. He strummed softly on a lakeside acoustic, the melody of Rusty Road drifting over waves. "We found the rhythm in the rust, babe, no more chasing dust." She smiled, hazel eyes reflecting moonlight. "And it'll play on, chord by chord, till the final fade." Afterglow carried them like a fade-out to a lakeside cottage in northern Michigan. June's serendipitous find. A weathered A-frame with creaky porch swing overlooking choppy waters of Lake Huron, pines whispering in wind like soft percussion. She set up a home production rig in the sunroom, laptop humming with Pro Tools, scouting tracks via email while waves lapped foundation. Harry claimed the scarred oak desk in the loft, penning lyrics by lantern light, blending 80s grit with midlife wisdom, verses of detours, do-overs, the beauty in minor keys. Rusty Road became their first collab, a mid-tempo ballad of bent axles and bent hearts, her vocals layered soulful over his acoustic strum, streaming on Spotify's dad rock revival playlists and garnering plays from Pennsylvania garages to Texas barbecues. Income trickled steady, modest royalties from reissues, garage gigs for weddings, festival residuals padding the account, but enough for stability. No excess to tempt old vices, just upgrades like a new compressor for the Beetle and solar panels glinting on the roof. Life settled into groove deeper than any set. Mornings with strong coffee brewed on a percolator, black for him, splash of cream for her, shared on the swing as mist rose off the lake. Afternoons writing, his fingers dancing strings while she hummed melodies from the kitchen, testing harmonies over simmering chili. Evenings unwound lazy, vinyl spins on a restored Technics turntable, her head on his chest during Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, whispers of dreams, touring small venues in the Midwest, no arenas or private jets, just intimate crowds in VFW halls where stories swapped like set lists. Conflicts arose like bridge changes, her touring itch for a California showcase, clashing his homebody pull toward quiet winters chopping wood, resolved over bonfires crackling with Lakeview stars, honest riffs airing grievances till harmony restored. Kids wove in closer, threads strengthening the weave. Trevor and Lisa summered there annually, Max learning basic chords on a kid-sized three-quarter guitar Harry built from scrap, the boy's tiny fingers plucking Twinkle Twinkle to giggles. Kate profiled them for a Comeback at 50 feature in Rolling Stone's regional edition, the piece viral in niche circles with quotes like, "Rust is just the badge of roads traveled." Emma thawed over time, awkward coffee meetups in neutral territory, shared laughs over Max's first concert of banging pots, their co-parenting evolving to a quiet victory of civility. Harry's epiphany crystallized one starlit night on the dock, feet dangling in cool water, June's hand in his. Rust isn't ruin, it's patina, the verdigris proof of miles logged, battles weathered, tunes endured. With June, love hummed low and true, not fireworks exploding in Vegas skies, but steady bassline anchoring the wildest solo, grounding the highs without muting the fire. He strummed softly on a lakeside acoustic, the melody of Rusty Road drifting over waves. We found the rhythm in the rust, babe, no more chasing dust. She smiled, hazel eyes reflecting moonlight, and it'll play on, chord by chord, till the final fade. Years layered like guitar tracks in a master mix, each adding depth without muddling the core. The cottage became base for Rusty sessions, intimate acoustic live streams on YouTube and Twitch, drawing 50-plus fans from faded flyers to silver foxes and leather vests, sharing stories in chat. Reminds me of my garage band in '83, thanks for the spark. Royalties from Heart Restart streams funded quiet luxuries, a sunroom extension for June's vocal booth, lined with egg crate foam scavenged from old amps, a paddleboard rack by the dock for lazy afternoons slicing lake glass. Health nudged gently. Harry quit smokes cold after a routine check flagged shadows on lungs, trading the pack for nicotine gum and longer walks with June, her hand swinging in sync. She joined lakeside yoga for road-weary backs, downward dogs at dawn with loons calling counterpoint. Conflicts arose like bridge changes in a set, her touring itch for a California showcase clashing his homebody pull toward quiet winters, chopping cordwood with an axe that echoed like a tom fill. Resolved over bonfires crackling with lake view stars, honest riffs airing grievances, her fear of stagnation, his of abandonment, till harmony restored with a shared verse or stolen kiss. Kids wove in closer, threads strengthening the weave. Trevor and Lisa's summers stretched to 2 weeks. Max, now 5, learning basic chords on the kid-sized 3/4 guitar Harry built from cherry scraps in the shed. The boy's tiny fingers plucking Twinkle Twinkle to gales of laughter. His first gig a family barbecue where he opened with a wobbly happy birthday. Kate's journalism bloomed into a book deal, Aging Rockers, Encores After the Fade, dedicated to Dad's unplugged wisdom and June's endless harmony. The launch party a cottage affair with local press and viral TikToks of Max air guitaring. Emma thawed over time, her new life with a mild-mannered professor yielding occasional lake visits, awkward coffees evolving to shared laughs over Max's concerts of banging pots and pans. Their co-parenting a quiet victory of civility, boundaries drawn like fret markers. Harry's final verse, penned on a napkin during a storm-lashed ferry ride, life's amp never fully mutes. Tune it right with the right band, and the song endures beyond the last note, echoing in hearts tuned to the same frequency. With June's harmony blending his lead, his rusty rhythm beats strong and true, a testament to midlife solos that can encore forever. No curtain call in sight. As winters softened to springs, the cottage's walls filled with framed mementos. A yellowed Steel Thunder tour laminate from '86, June's Grammy nominee plaque for a retro comp she produced, a crayon drawing from Max labeled Guampa's Guitar. Their collabs multiplied. Rusty Road spawned an EP, Detour Dreams, with guest spots from surviving '80s peers, the tracks landing on SiriusXM's Classic Vinyl Hour, drawing emails from fans. Heard it driving cross-country. Brought back my youth. Thanks. Travel beckoned balanced. A southeast swing in a rented van, hitting juke joints in Memphis where blues ghosts nodded approval, Harry on electric, June on keys, quiet retreats to the Smokies, unplugged acoustic circles around campfires with fellow road warriors. Age's toll crept. Harry's knees protesting long sets with ibuprofen chasers. June's voice gaining that smoky timbre from years of monitors. But it added flavor, like aged whiskey in a mix. Mentorship bloomed. Trevor coded an app for setlist sharing at small gigs, Max's lessons evolving to full songs by age 8, his band Little Thunder debuting at a school talent show. Kate's book tour included cottage stops, readings drawing crowds of second-act seekers. Emma's holiday cards arrived regular, her professor husband joining a fishing trip where baits cast like old riffs. Harry's wisdom distilled in a journal June found. Rhythm's not in the rush, it's in the rest, the space between notes where life breathes. With her, every day a bridge to the next verse, their love a endless jam, improvising through whatever the set list threw.
Decade's Turn brought milestones layered thick. Rusty Sessions hit 100 episodes, a milestone stream with guest Dylan Acolyte pulling 10K viewers, chat flooding with Inspiring at 60, Harry's hair fully silver but fingers nimble as ever. The EP went gold in niche sales, funding a studio wing with isolation booth and mixing board where they mentored young acts, kids from Detroit's rough edges learning chords alongside life hacks like tune your heart before your guitar. Health scares tested, June's vocal nodes from oversinging, surgery a whisper away, Harry bedside with dog-eared Kerouac for distraction. His shoulder tweak from a fall, rehab with Trevor's VR therapy app turning pain to progress.
Conflicts mellowed to minor keys, her wanderlust for Nashville collabs versus his lake-rooted calm, hashed out over dawn paddles, oars dipping in sync. Family orbit tightened. Max's bar mitzvah, a cottage bash with steel thunder uncles jamming klezmer rock fusion, Kate's wedding under Huron oaks, Harry walking her down aisle to an acoustic Here Comes the Sun. Emma's remission from a scare brought full circle, group toasts at Thanksgiving, her professor's dry wit blending with Danny's reformed ramblings, sober 5 years, running a recovery podcast. Harry's coda scratched on fretboard during a quiet snow. Rust is the story. Polish too much, lose the soul. With June's voice ever his counterpoint, the rhythm played eternal, a loop of grace notes in life's grand set.
Legacy rippled outward. A documentary pitch from Kate's contacts, Rhythm in the Rust, filming cottage sessions and garage origins, premiering at a small Sundance offshoot to teary-eyed applause from peers like petty tribute acts. Royalties sustained philanthropy, scholarships for Detroit music kids, a Steel Thunder Fund for touring vets down on luck. Travels evolved intimate. European hopscotch to busk in Amsterdam cafes, her harmonies drawing crowds on cobblestones. Asian jaunts to Tokyo's vinyl meccas, where fans in salaryman suits requested Highway Heart encores.
Age's gifts emerged, wisdom in lyrics, patience in mixes, love deepened by shared silences. Conflicts? Mere fills now. Her festival wander versus his dockside scribbles, resolved with a riff or ramble. Family full, Max's first album at 16, Thunder Kid, produced by Grandpa. Trevor's app evolving to gig booking platform. Kate's second book on Encore Lives. Emma's golden years overlapped, joint lake holidays with stories swapped like chords. Harry's swan song, a final EP, Final Fade, closed the circle. Tracks of reflection, June co-writing every line. As Huron winds carried the last note, he knew, Russ never ends the song, it starts the solo. With her harmony eternal, the beat went on.
If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and write in the comments what you would have done if you were in Michael's place.